After today's performance, how pleased are you with the team's mentality and fitness throughout 90 minutes?
Well, I think that's the key thing, right, with preseason. Certainly want to get ready tactically and be in the best form that you can to start the season. The reality is, I'm hoping that we're just scratching the surface of the team that we're going to be. But I think we're in a good spot, 5 weeks in. And the guys I think are ready, you can see it, they're ready to start playing for points, playing a game that means something. But the number one positive for me is we come through the preseason more healthy than we were when we started. So we have no new injuries, and some of the guys that were injured are now healthy. Diego Valeri, good example, got a good solid 60 minutes in, looked very good, and he's just going to keep getting more fit and more sharp, and that's a huge positive. There's some things still we need to clean up, but this group's ready. I think the mentality, as you said, in both games and on the weekends, San Jose in this game was very good. In both games were physical. That's what you want to get ready for the season. You want to play good teams. You want to play teams that are fighting you tooth and nail. We got that in both games. So I thought we managed it pretty well overall. Tough a little bit to give up a late goal on a PK. But in the end, if you can't win, then you better not lose. We're always going to try to win every game. But if you can't win, then at least get a point out of it.
You guys had a lot of opportunities once again tonight, and a lot of shots that weren't necessarily on target. Is finishing in the final third still something that isn't there yet, maybe?
Yeah, I think every team at this point would probably say that same thing. That's the toughest part of this game, is scoring goals, and you see it at every level. Best players in the world, best teams in the world go through games where they struggle to score, struggle to create. I was pleased in the second half that we took a few more chances, and they weren't on target, but they were close. So you don't always want to evaluate the shots based on whether or not they were on target or not, because you could miss, obviously, the post by a few inches. Sometimes you could put it on target, but it's 30 yards away. That's not a good chance. But I was pleased that Gaston, Darlington started to pull the trigger a little bit. The reality is we have some very creative players that help us keep the ball, but it's important that we're always balancing the two P's, possession versus penetration. And in the final third, it's about penetration. It's about going to goal. And guys like Valeri, Nagby, and Gaston, they need to always remind themselves that in the final third, they need to go to goal. And I thought in the second half they did. The goals will fall. I'm not worried about that. We're getting chances. If we weren't getting chances, I'd be worried. But we're going to score plenty of goals.
You guys have still some new pieces on the team from last year. How would they sort of fit in, and what do you think about the chemistry on the field between the new players and the players that were here last year?
I think it's good, again, for being this early, but it'll get better. And with Valeri, we've just been able to integrate him back in, and even though it's just one piece, it does change the chemistry. And you saw it tonight, we kind of played with a pretty fluid line of three underneath Urruti, with Gaston starting at 10, Valeri on the right and Nagby on the left, but we wanted some rotation, which you saw. Second half, we started Valeri as a 10, Gaston on the left, and D on the right. So there are a couple little twists that we throw on. The starting points are starting points. We do want to see some rotation because all three of those guys have the ability to impact the game, and so we don't want our wide guys, whoever we start there, to just hang out wide. But there's a balance too, because if they start coming in too much and we get too narrow, then now we're not using the width enough. So I think those are some of the little things that we need to continue to stress and get that right, because those three players are very good players, and we want to put them in spots and put them in, put them together in a way where all three of them are effective. I thought second half with Valeri at the 10 and Gaston on the left, kind of coming in on his right and Dee on the right. I thought that both felt good, but I thought that felt a notch better. But there were going to be some games where we rotated, and it's nice to have that flexibility.
Are there more playmakers on this team than there were last year?
But no doubt. I mean, I think you look at, we don't even have Zach Awani back, but he's a game changer. He's a guy that can, bring some 1v1 penetration. We didn't have that last year. Nagby does that at times, but he can unlock teams 1v1. It's a different type of dimension. He's not even healthy. Gaston obviously is a new piece. So right there's two guys that are different than what we had last year. So there's a lot of flexibility. From game to game, we can really change the pieces in those front four spots to get some different dimensions out of the game. That's exciting for me to tinker with that. Certainly, with a couple new pieces, we don't have it completely figured out, but we got a good idea after 5 weeks of where we're at and what looks good, feels good. Tonight I have a better picture after San Jose. We didn't get a chance to tinker with Valeri in there. Now we do. So, it's nice to have now 2 games with a little bit of a picture of what it looks like.
You referenced a lot of triggers pulled from 20 and 25 today in stark contrast to Sunday. Is it sort of the next phase for this offense figuring out when to pull that trigger at that point and when to pull it down for one more pass?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said to the guys actually. I said we need to find the balance between keeping the ball and obviously going to goal. The game's about scoring goals, so as much as we keep the ball, we got to make sure that we continue to penetrate and accelerate the game, and and we need production out of those front 4 guys. With that shape, at times it can be until we get it back, getting forward, or a holding mid bombing on. You got most of your production is going to have to come out of those 4 guys. I believe we led the league in goals scored out of our midfielders, and we've kind of set up our shape that way, the system that way, so we will get production always out of our midfielders. But it's important that they remember that, because by nature, Gaston, Valeri, Nagby, by nature they're passers, but they all have the ability to score goals, and they're going to need to score goals, and they will, no doubt about it. But it's like anything, you set the target, you shoot, you miss, right? You readjust your shot, you shoot again. I thought first half, maybe the first game, San Jose, we didn't shoot enough. We got in good spots and passed. Second half, we probably shot too much. So we have to find that balance between playing another pass, which might give you a better quality chance, versus taking a half chance at times and pulling the trigger and not looking for the perfect chance, not looking to just walk the ball in the goal. We're not always going to score a 10-pass sequence where we combine with 4 or 5 guys. We will score some like that, but we also need to score goals, half chances. Sometimes it's a rebound, sometimes it's what I call a garbage goal. Ugly goals all count the same. With pretty goals, ugly goals, they all count the same. So we got to make sure that we look to score, plain and simple.
You guys didn't give up a single goal in preseason from the run of play.
Yeah.
What can you say about the defense?
Yeah, I mean, that's great, Obviously, even in this tournament, we gave up 3 goals, 2 of them PKs. I don't know how you correct that. I mean, you usually get PKs called on you at home twice. This country, for some reason, you go over in another country, they'd never make that call. But here, for some reason, you get that call against you. I don't know how. But in the end, it is what it is. We needed to have a better cushion. I thought the second goal was in there in the first half. I thought we let them off the hook a little bit. When we got the first goal, we grew, we got confidence. I thought it rattled them a little bit, and they were really hanging on. And instead of going for the jugular and getting the second goal, I thought we let them off the hook a little bit. If we get that second goal, now we have that cushion. And then now when something happens, like things happen, you know, we're at 2-1 and we get 3 points. So that was one of the points I made at halftime, was we gotta have that killer instinct to push for the second goal. Very pleased, though, I thought in both games on the weekends against San Jose, Vancouver, we started the game well. You know, obviously we gave up the early goal against San Jose, but overall mentality, energy, very good in both games. You know, last year, if you remember, that took us a little while to get that right. But that's 2 games now where we're, recent games now, where we're starting on the front foot and really dictating the play, and that's pleasing. You know, we wanted to get the first goal, and we did, but we got to push to get the second too. We can't let them off the hook like that.
Was it a plan to only play Larry 60 minutes, or was that kind of?
Yeah, no. I mean, I'd love to play him 90. You know, and that changes the game a little bit. Obviously, you lose a player of quality him, but you know, we wanted 30-60. You know, medical staff, fitness coach felt that was the right progression. So we're just following kind of a natural progression that the other guys followed. He's just a few weeks behind. So we didn't want to push it too much because physically, you know, they didn't feel he was quite ready to play more than 60 minutes.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
See you next weekend.